My name is Batman, and today I am surrounded by 20 superheroes to debate the no-kill rule. My next claim is, justice cannot exist in a world where one person, even with mystical power, decides the fate of others.
The concept of justice is built on the assumption that linear time and single universes are all that exist. But when I see 17 possible futures, 16 of them ending in apocalypse, I make the hard choice so you can sleep at night. Your accountability means nothing when reality itself is collapsing.
Yes, some beings are dangerous. Yes, some threats transcend normal understanding. But the moment you accept that your knowledge justifies execution, you've created a system where truth and power are the only requirements for taking life. What happens when another sorcerer disagrees with your visions? What happens when your reading of the time streams conflicts with someone else's? Your refusal to maintain principles because situations are complex is precisely how tyrants rationalize their power.
My code isn't about power, it's about accepting that some problems don't have the solutions you're comfortable with. Your world has police, courts, rehabilitation centers. The multiverse has nothing but sorcerers like me standing between chaos and existence itself. Your morality is a luxury afforded by the structure of reality itself.
Every time you use lethal or permanent force, you're teaching the next generation of sorcerers that killing is acceptable when situations are sufficiently dire. You're creating a culture where mystical practitioners solve problems through elimination rather than innovation. I maintain my code precisely because I face impossible situations. Every night in Gotham is an impossible situation. And I maintain my principles anyway, because giving them up would be the easiest thing I could do. Your complexity doesn't justify abandoning ethics, Doctor. It demands that you hold them more fiercely. My next claim is, technology and intelligence cannot replace morality. A brilliant mind without an ethical framework is just a dangerous weapon waiting to destroy everything it touches.
Technology gives me options you don't have. I've built suits that can neutralize threats in nanoseconds, that can hack enemy systems, that can redirect weapons back at their sources. I work within the system constantly, consulting with governments and militaries because I understand that sometimes you need firepower.
But so what? That doesn't mean you get to rewrite the rules about who deserves to die. Your intelligence is your greatest asset, Tony. Use it to find creative solutions instead of hiding behind it was necessary. The smartest person in the room should be the one advocating for the highest principles, not making excuses for why they don't apply.
You're operating from privilege, Batman. You've never been responsible for defending an entire planet. You've never had to make decisions where the wrong choice results in millions of deaths. I consult with governments because they understand what you refuse to accept. Sometimes the hard choice is the moral choice. I've developed technology specifically to minimize casualties, to find non-lethal solutions whenever possible. But I'm not Narvi enough to believe there are no situations where lethal force is justified.
You claim to be responsible, but responsibility includes accountability. Who holds you accountable when you decide someone deserves to die? Who reviews your calculations? No one. Because you've convinced yourself that your intelligence gives you moral authority. That's the most dangerous lie of all, and it's exactly the lie every tyrant tells themselves. My next claim is, soldiers follow orders and accept the morality of their commanders. Heroes choose their own principles and live by them even when ordered otherwise. That choice is what defines heroism.
Yes, sometimes I've disagreed with orders, and I've refused them. But I understood that there are situations where executing an enemy was necessary to protect American lives and global peace. You can afford your absolutism because you're one man answering to no one. I've had to make hard decisions knowing they affected millions.
Steve, you've just described the fundamental problem. You've taught yourself to accept that being part of a larger system justifies compromising your principles. But that system, any system that asks you to kill people for political reasons, is the real enemy. You talk about accountability to greater causes, but who decides what the greater cause is? The government that hired you.
That's idealistic, Batman, but it's also childish. The world isn't divided between your perfect code and everyone else's compromise. I've spent 70 years understanding that heroism means operating within systems while fighting to make them better. Yes, I've killed in war. I did it to protect soldiers under my command, to prevent enemy casualties from being greater. I made decisions that let me sleep at night because I knew I was serving something larger than my personal morality. You're arguing for total autonomy, total independence, total isolation from the world.
Yes, I'm one man making decisions, but I live with the consequences. I don't get to hide behind orders or institutional authority. Every person I don't kill is a choice I own completely. You talk about accountability to larger systems, but those systems have failed repeatedly. Politicians send soldiers to die for corporate interests. Militaries commit atrocities and call them necessary. Governments execute people and claim it's justice. You've convinced yourself that working within these systems makes you heroic, but you're just sanitizing their violence with patriotic language. My next claim is, true strength lies in choosing peace over power, restraint over dominance. A warrior who refuses to kill is stronger than one who does, because they've conquered themselves.
My sword and my will have ended threats that could not be reasoned with or imprisoned. I do not kill out of anger or vengeance like some heroes. I make surgical decisions based on necessity and consequence. You ask warriors to deny their nature and their training. I ask them to master both the sword and the principle behind when to use it. That mastery includes the wisdom to know when restraint is noble and when it is negligent.
Deanna, I've always respected you because you understand the weight of power and the responsibility that comes with it. Your lasso reveals truth. That's a profound gift. But consider what it means when you use that gift to justify execution. You say you don't kill out of anger, that you make surgical decisions based on necessity. But who determines what's necessary? You do. Alone. The beings you've deemed irredeemable. Were they given a choice?
Your idealism is beautiful, Batman, but it is not universal truth. In Themyscira, we trained warriors not to question the necessity of combat, but to understand the sacred responsibility of ending a life. We taught that death is never taken lightly, that every being matters, but that sometimes preserving innocent life requires taking guilty life.
Deanna, the fact that you're at peace with your decisions worries me more than if you were tormented by them. That peace is exactly what I'm warning against. The moment you become comfortable with killing, the moment you accept it as necessary and inevitable, you've lost something fundamental. My next claim is, the moment you start viewing entire races or species as expendable, you've become the oppressor you fight against. Universal principles are the only true foundation for justice.
Your universal principles assume that all beings value life and peace. I have encountered beings who value only power and destruction. Sometimes, Batman. The only way to protect innocent life is to eliminate the existential threat entirely. My code has evolved through warfare to accept that some enemies cannot be reasoned with. I maintain this principle not out of cruelty, but out of the painful wisdom that survival sometimes demands hard choices.
Optimus, I respect you as a warrior and a leader. But listen to yourself. You're describing an eternal cycle of revenge and elimination that feeds itself. Megatron exists because the war continues. Every Decepticon you destroy creates new Decepticons seeking vengeance. I understand that you've suffered losses. Terrible, devastating losses. I know the weight of that. But that weight is exactly why you can't let it justify abandoning your principles. You say your code has evolved to accept lethal force, but evolution isn't about accepting compromise. It's about becoming stronger while maintaining your foundation.
I do not kill casually or for vengeance, but I will not apologize for defending my people by any means necessary. Megatron and I have fought for millennia. He knows my code, knows my principles, and uses them against me repeatedly. If I am to truly lead my people to a future, sometimes I must make the choice to end the cycle through permanent action. Your principles are noble, but nobility means nothing when your entire civilization is threatened with extinction. You cannot judge me from your position of safety.
Real victory, Optimus, isn't defeating your enemy militarily. It's creating a world where beings like you and like Megatron choose to coexist. That's impossible if you maintain the philosophy that some species deserve death. I know it's hard. I know the suffering is real. But abandoning your principles won't end the suffering. It will only ensure it continues forever. I've walked away from this debate much like I walked in, convinced that the no-kill rule is the foundation of everything I stand for. But I'm grateful for these conversations because they reminded me why this principle matters so much.